Hi, welcome to the show. So recently, as you are aware, I shot a video episode on startup jobs, and I shared my experience working, especially in Komodo, because it is a startup. And like I mentioned, this is a well-funded startup, and this is not like the startups which is self-funded by CEO or something. It is a sort of well-funded. Of course, maybe CEO would have funded along with some investors, but it's a well funded startup. And how the journey started, but people who see my contact page, it is not just these select few companies alone I worked. I kind of highlighted few companies I worked, and I always mention, I work as a consultant. Even now I am working in a bunch of companies, so that is always going to be there. And before getting to that, I thought actually what it all started me getting into into Linux especially. Okay, see, we are talking about an era when people don't even aware what open source is. You can go to any techie, I'm not saying a common person, you can go to any techie and tell what is and ask, what is Linux and what is open source. He'll be confused. Okay, because everyone is aware about the Windows ecosystem and the applications you write on top of it, and some applications are freeware, some are shareware, you can use, but you need more features, you pay money and you can get the new features. So things like that, and the trial versions, and and of course the pirated stuff and stuff. So people are aware of these things. Okay, I'm saying who are tech savvy of that time. I'm saying a time of around 2000 1990s, which is 96, 98, and in that era. So of course when I was studying in college, we had Turbo C. So usually I used to do some fun coding and some graphic stuff and all this stuff, but again it is in MS DOS or something like that. So no one knows what Linux is. It is something happened by accident. I used to have a good friend of mine. He got a CD Linux custom distribution in a magazine, and also he read somewhere online, and those days no one have any internet. Okay, but he's little rich, he had some dial-up connection, so he used to read all this stuff and got enlightened. Okay, so he got me a copy, and then finally I managed to do a dual install in my system. I used to have Windows 98 or so, and then I used to explore. I used to feel it is weird because of it's a weird looking UI, because I am now comparing directly Windows with Linux. See, we are again talking a journey of mine where I kind of got to know about Linux, and then I started learning it out of passion, and then I chose a profession in this domain. So unfortunately these days you don't get that privilege. Usually what happens is you get the first job in the college after you finish. Sometimes they directly take you after some bunch of interviews, and then they just conduct various induction programs, and then they see that what team you suit. Maybe you may prefer, but I'm not sure who who prioritizes that. But most of the times they see that your caliber and they pick. You may be suitable for a specific team, you may be just suitable for some testing, or if you have good debugging or some kind of skills, maybe in storage or some even security and stuff like that. So these days it's a different thing. So we are talking about an era where people used to finish college, and then they will be just taken up by some, taken up some job, and then they get to know things as and when things come as per their profession. So hardly there are few bunch of people used to study Java and then selectively go towards Java programming, or some used to study this Oracle and go to such course, and then used to get into those things. So if you ask me, when I was in 10th standard, I've been into some course. It was like assorted. I studied WordStar and Lotus 1, 2, 3, and you have this DBase, which is a database stuff. So all of these are MS DOS applications. So I liked computers. I used to love every aspect of computers. I like even touching that stuff. I like holding that floppy disks. Even if there is a screw falls down, I used to pick it up and keep it carefully. So I used to love so much actually. I used to feel this is something very futuristic versus any gadgets you find lying around. Let it be anything like this. Okay, I used to feel it is very futuristic. So what happened is, I was like this. I was exposed to Linux ecosystem, but as a student, I was in third year. I think so. I got to know about Linux, and I have done a test setup again with my assistance of my friend, and then we played around and. The thing is, as a youngster, I was comparing in this. I can't play games, and I don't know. I was just copying some exe file and trying to run. It is not running. I was not able to understand anything because, see, we are talking again a time where there is no internet, and you need to study something in the library or something. Who knows? And then you will get to know what we can do about. So I was confused. I never liked it, and moreover its interface, I believe it is a variant of Red Hat, and please note, this is an era where there is no Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So there is a variant of Red Hat, and it has kind of started like that. It was we had Red Hat, and then they started focusing on this RHEL, and then they spawned this Fedora project, and the Fedora project started around 2003, 4 or something like that, and then it started. So you can imagine Fedora is the desktop open source part of Red Hat ecosystem. And then of course the CentOS is the again the open source community driven aspect of Red Hat actually. So it's what the ecosystem finally got evolved. So we are talking even before, when Red Hat is not there. I'm not sure about CentOS when it started, but I'm pretty much sure about Fedora because we are using some distributions prior to that, and then finally the Fedora happened. Okay, but by the time Fedora happened, market is quite mature. Okay, so I am not much aware of other distributions like Debian and stuff. So I am completely like I have no clue. But this is what happening when I was in college, and I can't do any coding, C coding as well, what I am doing in my college or something. I used to feel it's completely alien. Okay, and moreover bare operating system, I am not sure what to do with this. Okay, so it used to look something strange, but I never got the idea of the open source. And those who are wondering, I got inspired by Linus Torvalds, so definitely not. Okay. So I do like Torvalds, and I do read his updates. Even recently he mentioned about the RAM ECC stuff, and he was quite angry with Intel, which again it justifies. You can search and you will find that news update anyway. So this happened, and after college, like I mentioned few videos, we are talking about 2002. There are very less jobs for freshers, and if you want to get any job, then you need to answer all this bunch of puzzles and some mathematical stuff, all this bullshit actually. So I still know guys used to read this Shakuntala Devi puzzles and all this bullshit. I'm not a guy who is interested in all these things. I'm a very straightforward guy. I have done my bachelor's in engineering. I like coding a lot. Okay, so when I was in college, I never had any semester studying all this analytical or these kind of puzzles, which train goes faster, or some two buses are going at some speed which it reaches. I'm not really worried about these puzzles. So every time I go to an interview, being myself a distinction holder, I used to have always an issue clearing any sort of their interview rounds, let it be any company. So I thought myself, perhaps the one thing I can do is I can become a sysadmin or netadmin and I started eventually going to CCNA classes, and also I don't know, by accident I asked them, inquired them. I was studying in Chennai, by the way, this courses actually. So I went to a training center called Axel something. So again, this I'm saying 2003, of that era. So they mentioned perhaps you can do some Linux server admin course, and eventually if you are interested you can focus, and you can do even RHC or something. I think by that time it is already there. Okay, but anyway, I am not sure about the RHC stuff, because at that point of time we had a huge financial crunch at home, and even doing this CCNA is a huge challenge, and provided if I pay the examination fee, I have to even pass that exam. So it's a huge issue when it comes to that financial aspect. But anyway, nevertheless, I went to the classes. I was also doing some part-time job at that point of time, and see, I can choose becoming a call center guy. Again, I need to speak well. I used to not speak well in I'm not good in English at that point of time. So anyway, this happened, and then I finished, and then eventually I finished my CCNA, and then I got the taste of Linux properly. Again, I'm not so much inspired by Linux. I used to think, okay, perhaps this suits for servers, because it is quite easy. You can set up any DHCP, you can set up any telnet service, and that's what you study as an admin. This is what. So I used to like that aspect, because when I compare now this with Windows, it's very challenging to do something like that. Okay, I still don't know how to do the same thing what I did in Linux can be able to be done in Windows. I'm saying at that point of time. So I finished, and then I was even doing some sysadmin job. I've been it's quite temporary job. Then what happened is, some point of time, of course, it was quite challenging. I initially been into day shift. Usually they give newbies a job of day shift work, because if something goes wrong, they definitely their senior or someone have to take care, and it is quite common if any network may go down, and then I need to escalate, call the support. I'm saying the international support and stuff like that. So it was quite challenging. It's a huge setup, huge infrastructure. I was a part of infrastructure team, and I need to take care of around 400-500 guys in one shift. Okay, each time whenever they come to the shift, I need to take care of so many guys. So any type of infrastructure needs, so let it be remote network stuff, or if there is any issue in their system and stuff. So this is a good learning curve for me. I used to do a regular periodic tape backups, and also work on their VoIP, not VoIP, sorry, telephone EPBX stuff. And then any new guy joins in the company, doing the work on patch panel, and also taking any inventory, lot of things, even down to the even minor things, like even if some paper to be loaded, things like that, because I am a part of that infra team actually. So it's a good experience. But eventually they thought, they used to have a lot of mainframe applications. They used to connect to remote US mainframe. Although people use the fancy word like cloud, it is nothing fancy about, because anything you host remotely, you can call these days as cloud, but those days, we call as mainframe applications. So they used to have a bunch of applications in mainframe. So they were using Windows systems, and each time there is something happens, it's a huge headache, managing and administrating that Windows system. And on top, you need to have some ready to burn image, like a Norton Ghost image. If something goes wrong, we used to have all this Dell systems, but again something happens, again you need to burn that image, and then it used to take a lot of time, and also the performance issues and various things actually, and of course not ignoring this licensing costs as well. So in every aspect they were thinking, since they have worldwide many branches, they were thinking perhaps why not we try Linux. Okay, so they were thinking why not we try Linux. There are bunch of things which is easy to migrate, but there are also other things which is quite challenging, especially these mainframe applications, because they were having some weird browser extensions and IE extensions, and getting these things onto Mozilla browser. As you know, this is again I'm talking before Firefox. Okay, we had Mozilla browser, so getting onto the Mozilla again, there were some extensions, something they were just doing, and I was since I was little proactive, and by this time I started even getting job in night shifts. So they don't give night shifts to newbies, because usually night shifts I may need to work alone and something is goofed up, the responsibility is on my shoulder. So I was hardly 2 or 3 months into that job, so I was still very much a newbie. So eventually, since I was a quick learner and stuff, they had some trust, and then they put me onto night shift. And in the night shift, of course, I did some bunch of goof ups actually, but still I used to like working in night shifts more, because I can take my time. If there is any call, I can go attend. I mean, if someone calls, I can go attend. Other than that, I can sit at one place, I can study and explore things which I used to like. I'm always proactive at night. Even now you can see it's around 11 p.m. I'm shooting this video, so I like doing things at night. I'll be more focused, so I used to little study about the Linux architecture, and so they called some specialist team, and this is where the story begins. So they called a special team from Hyderabad. It's from a company called ELX Linux. So looks like this company have their own custom Linux distribution, which is unheard of. Okay, something happening like that in India. So this is a Linux distribution from India. So I'm talking about an era of 2003, 4, something like that. I mean, not even 4, it is just 2002, 3, something, like that time. So they called some guy, and then he came and he did some feasibility tests, and later they thought, let us, wrap it up and we see from there what can be done. So something it happened, and they tried, and then it never happened. In that conversation, I got to know, and I was asking, okay, I want to focus on development aspect. I was having that curiosity, because I'm generally a good programmer. See, even now I always have a barrier. If I go to any job, the interview panel of 99% of all companies sucks. Let it be any big MNC. Okay, so never they will understand me, and if they ask, tell about yourself, I can't say in that stuff. It just won't work out. Okay, it's just a dumb way of doing interview. So I'm saying, okay, so it's nice experience. They came, and then I seriously asked it in terms of I want to do development in Linux. So I asked what kind of things I can explore. So he said generally you can focus on the kernel and something. That's all he said. Okay, and since I am anyway CC and I am very much good in networking, so I liked that aspect. So then I started little exploring, and then eventually got a job, and things like that, it clicked up. Okay, so like I mentioned in the previous video about the Commodore tenure. So this is where what happened is I got to know about the ELX Linux, and I felt I'm very much grateful, and I need to convey this, because if you are seeing me as an expert or having a passion in Linux, it is because of this. So that incident is the turning point where it all started. Okay, so I got introduced with their company's founder. His name is Abhidat, or Abhi in short. Okay, so once in a while I used to be in touch, and they are very busy with something, and but I used to be in touch. Curiosity used to drag me towards it, so I used to be in touch, and I have used by the way, see, this is what ELX Linux and you will find lot of old screenshots. I'm not I think they were sort of not so active anymore, and you can see the website is still there. So again I'm saying, don't judge by its looks, and this is something which is really cool, which I am supposed to put a spotlight on. Okay, so when I was working in Komodo, we had the liberty, we can choose any operating system we want. We can even have our desktop, I mean PCs installed with Windows. So we had such liberty, and in fact we can even assemble our own desktop. So I went to SP Road, I'm sorry, not SP Road, there in Chennai it is called as Rich Street. We went there and we picked some hardware we brought, and then it's nice and fun. Okay, so bunch of them I made as servers, bunch of them I made as desktops. Like I said in the previous episode, I am the 8th employee. Since I am coming from somewhat like this, I was quite proactive, although my work over there as a seriously I'm a developer there. Okay, so I was doing that, and for some time I used the Red Hat I used as their forwarding VPN server, something like that. I need to establish, so I did that. But other than that, my desktop I used ELX Linux. The entire ELX Linux, the way it started is, at that point of time they were still thinking perhaps if we have a proper Linux distribution put together, we can use it as a Windows alternative. So this is the whole movement happening at that point of era. So people are introduced about this ecosystem, and they used to tell or share freely that what are the advantages of Linux versus Windows, and anyone who is a Linux enthusiast will always help others. So this is the sort of ecosystem which was there at that point of time. But now it is quite common. You don't need to tell. People know one or other way. Okay, so so this was the thing, and I was also using ELX Linux. The reason this came into existence is the ELX Linux is there used to have many their customer base who are actually looking for transitioning from Windows to Linux. So hence that's the whole focus of that whole Linux distribution and the company business model as well. So they had I'm not sure about the services part, but they are very serious about the distro part. So it is as per the way it was, things are at that point of time. So it was like that. And one thing I used to not like about Linux is that very poor that UI aspect, how it is built together. When I was using the Red Hat, again I had some issues. Again I'm saying this is not RHEL, I'm saying the Red Hat which was before Fedora. So in that way I was exposed to that. So the thing I liked about ELX is it's a UI which is nicely put together, and it is they are of course making it easy for Windows users to migrate to Linux, but that's fine. But as a lay person who wants a serious desktop operating system, this used to exactly offer what I'm looking for. So I started using ELX for even a few months, around 5-6 months or so. Okay, so as I said, I had the full liberty. I can choose any, I mean in that company Komodo it is like that, we had the full liberty. You can choose any operating system for your PC, and then you can start using it. So no one used to tell that this is the thing you are supposed to use, nothing like that. You can pick anything, and then that's your operating system. Unfortunately I didn't had that liberty when I was in Tata Elxsi. So they used to give a Windows PC, and unfortunately I need to use that. But anyway, here it is, things are different. I used it for a few months, and then I explored SUSE. At that point of time, again SUSE is quite popular, and it is a nicely put together Linux distro. I mean to say put together, it is a good distro for desktop usage. Okay, I'm saying especially a desktop usage, you need to have a very good UI, not some fancy looking buttons or some 3D buttons or something. I'm saying a very good usability as a production, a productivity system with a very good, uh, streamlined UI. I'm saying, the problem with Linux even now is, especially the UI is not fully streamlined. You get some option or something which is coming from some some project, something else comes from some other project. So by the time you build a distribution, you are actually building all these independent individual projects or modules, and then you are building a usable distribution. So that's the whole ecosystem of Linux, versus in Windows the whole stuff is exclusively done by Microsoft. So they have the complete control, which I still appreciate, because this way what we get is we get that unified desktop experience in Windows, which unfortunately we don't get in Linux even till this day. I don't mind sometimes paying some money to someone, but the problem is we need that unified look and feel. It should not change just like that. You upgrade some distribution, something completely changes. It is not like that. And this is something which hardly we get in Linux, and that's the main issue, that it never can dominate in desktop at any near point of time, maybe perhaps in the future. But this is the main challenge. The company have to focus on the UI part. It's just not you do some scripts and then claim that Linux is very powerful using scripts or something. No, you open a browser, do some work, you do anything, UI should on par, should match its capabilities with what you can do with Windows. And I'm saying, and it should offer a seamless experience. Now if I do some Ubuntu OS upgrade, something used to work, suddenly it will stop working, something, it really annoys me. Some icon, something, it doesn't work like it was working before, or some bug, and again they fix that bug after the 6 months iteration, and then by the time we get that next Ubuntu release. So something like this, and this is kind of common with many distributions. So I'm saying it's not a question of distribution, it is a question of a streamlined approach. So I used to like ELX Linux, and hence I'm saying this is where the journey started. This is what had made me the Kiran who is into Linux and passionate about it, what I am. It's not Linux stalwart, certainly not. I used to learn, I used to know that he is the founder and things like that. I studied, but this is what actually inspired me. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I do get youngsters who ask, even in this Linux Week series, I did a small interview with one of my follower or viewer whose name is Arun. He's still about to get, going to join in a college. But every time I see there are many Linux communities who brag and or discuss about this, best distro or things like that. I'm saying it is not about it. You need to focus about the overall productivity and how it kind of reverberates with your needs and stuff. Okay, you feel that it is kind of suits this particular stuff, it suits. It's not about you get hop from one thing to other. It's like that. So anyway, that's what is my journey started. So I was using SUSE for some time, and then I switched to Fedora, because by the time the Fedora came, the first version is not that exciting, but by the time they perfected it after some bunch of years, it started looking really good and mature. So I was using Fedora Linux or the RPM package, this thing ecosystem for more than a decade. And then recently, around 4 years back or 5 years back, I switched to Ubuntu ecosystem, because I used to like one aspect of Ubuntu is the way things are put together. Again, here some people may claim it came from Debian. I still use Debian, I don't deny that, but I have used Debian. The problem with Debian is its UI is not, you install some GNOME and it just works like the basic GNOME, something again it doesn't work, something it happens. So I'm saying I have seen enough stuff, so I never liked Debian. Okay, this is where I like and appreciate what Ubuntu did. Yes, it's a company, yes, there is a business model, and of course if you are a user you can even donate some money to them. Definitely not a bad idea, because we need to appreciate the amount of streamlining they are trying to do, so that it is all maintained and it is all streamlined. Okay, so this is where the most difficult thing is, see, everyone can do some distribution. You read some Linux from scratch, you do some custom distribution, or you take something and then you make your own distribution and stuff and publish it. That's fine, everyone will do. That's not a big job. I'm saying you have to streamline that. Okay, that's where the actual thing or challenge is actually. So I seen even a small company like ELX done that. So hope you can see there they have some few use cases they mentioned. Please note this website, as you see here, it's last updated 2005. It's a fairly old site. I was just digging deeper and managed to get this DistroWatch ELX Linux page. As you can see, this is their logo, and I searched for any potential screenshots. I'm not able to get, and even this download links are not working, but hope you can see there they have this release history and as well there is a small intro about this project ELX. As you can see, it started in the February 2000 Hyderabad and stuff. So it stands for Everyone's Linux Private Limited. Okay, so hope you can judge from the name. Their main intention is to help transition people who are using traditionally Windows to an open source variant or open source stuff like Linux actually, but they are equally targeting both enterprise users as well as home users. Okay, so that's what. So you can see there there is this business desktop and various other variants, and and as well some interesting interview with Abhi. If I search, you should able to find ELX Linux Abhi. Then you should able to find is the chief architect and founder of ELX Linux. And those who are wondering, by the way, this is his photo. I just requested him that if possible I can share your photo. So this is his photo. Of course it is with his family member, so I need to little censor. Okay, so this is Abhi. I pulled from WhatsApp, and that's the thing. It's a fantastic product, and you should even see people see this comment is around 2002, and people commenting about there are 8 major Linux distros are going for desktop. See, at that point of time you have this Mandrake and Lindos and Lycorius and ELX and stuff like that. I'm not sure why they didn't mention Red Hat and SUSE, but anyway, you can see there ELX has been talked about, and things like that. It's very challenging to even attempt something like this, because putting together a custom distribution and people are not still aware about Linux, and even in corporate world, even techies, they even don't know that such a thing is there, unless if they are into some sysadmin or some server stuff. Otherwise no one knows what Linux is. So we are talking era like that. Okay, you can see there this is the thing, and it's good that there is a mention in this DistroWatch, because we can go back in this timeline and see and read stuff. So you can see there screenshots, but unfortunately when I clicked it's not showing anything. So I will keep searching. What about let me try if I go this time machine or something like that. Let me just quickly check if I can go back and then see any of that which I can pull from that time machine. See, we arrived at a Wayback Mission. We can try any link like this. So this is the distro watch for this page. We see how it looked like at that point of time. Browse history. Let's see. So we need to select a timeline so that we can go back and see how this page was looking like at that point of time. So hope you can understand. It is taking from that repository. This Wayback Mission itself is like public funded stuff. Here I should select or what? Yes, so it saved 2 changes between 2006 and 15. And what about during this time? I don't think so it is there. If it is there, it should show something about it. What we do is, we can even go to the CLX. If they have some variant of this, perhaps we should able to find. Yeah, you can see there are various archives which is available. Which are available. We select a bit sometime of this era. See, these are highlighted whenever it has taken a snapshot, and that archive it is been recorded. You can see there March 25th 2003. So we select the screenshot. What we get out of it. Yeah, you should able to see if I click any of these ISOs, it's just not going anywhere. Yeah, it just does this and it's not. Yeah, it is getting from that Wayback Mission. Hope you can see there. It is this type of variant or icon at that point of time versus here it is a little different and looking different. So if I click products, we see if it works. Again, it is a snapshot taken at that point of time. Hope if it has that whole stuff, then we should able to get. Hope you can notice it is from web.archive.org. Okay, so that's that Wayback Mission. Here for thin client, and so you can see more or less similar thing. We see if screenshots or something is there. At least I am looking for at least one picture. Okay. Yeah, since I think these are images, perhaps they have not taken. I'm not sure. Of course, we do get like this broken stuff. See, Wayback have to take like this all the sites everywhere across internet. Okay, it's huge amount of data, and it is yeah, you can see there there are some screenshots. Wow, fantastic. Wow. A few things I just want to see how kind of they put together. See, it may not make sense to many, but this is how things got evolved, and whatever you see now, it took all this stuff, and things have been experimented. People do got failures, and eventually we got what we have at this point of time. Okay, so it's like that. So hope only this is there. Who knows? It is not increasing. It is not showing anything. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, something like this. But the moment you open any file share or something, you should find more options, sort of. Let me refresh this. see there is something corrupted, and here this picture it is not coming. Yeah, kind of we can get some glimpse, but unfortunately it is not showing all the stuff. I'm still not sure, is it strictly ELX Linux? Yeah, you can see there like this my computer, my docs and stuff. So it kind of if he is very new to Linux, there is somewhere he can get to know. And yeah, this network neighborhood, yeah, this is the thing. What happens is it is quite easy through this interface to mount your Windows share. Okay, this is very difficult. If not in Red Hat, we need to of course do smb:// and you need to do that mounting via command line and stuff. But see there, they have done this, and these some of these extensions work seamless. Okay, but like I said, there are various variants. I am not a person who even seen this variant. Okay, this is 2002. By the time I saw ELX Linux, it's already quite mature. It's a version, I mean it's a year 2003 variant or something like that. Okay, it is not that old. I have not seen that old ELX Linux. So yeah, I need to once catch hold of Abhi and need to check what it actually started him getting into this, which I never discussed so far. Wow. Yeah, see, this is 2004. We take this link and check in Wayback this thing, and we see. Yeah, like I tell, my videos are not for everyone. If you lose patience, perhaps you can skip, or you can quit watching. But I thought let me do something and see what I can go into. See, the Wayback also sometimes it may retrieve from tape archive, and they have huge storage stuff, again funded, mostly public funded and stuff. I have some vague idea, but sometimes hence it takes a lot of time to retrieve something, and it may not been cached, and it is not a hot content. Hot, we use the term in Akamai quite a lot. Hot means something is cached. Okay, if it is cached, if it is in CDN share, what happens is you click something in Facebook or Twitter, anything like that, it will be immediately pulled from your nearest source. But if it is not a hot content, which means it is not cached, then it has to get to the source, and it has to take from some archive, and it has to pull this selective stuff from there. So it takes a lot of time. So we need to be patient. We need to have some patience. Okay, so we pick something like 2004. There is one backup, it is there. Let's pick this and see. See, when Ubuntu started, I think I was in still in or I was in Tata Elxsi or something like that. I even found a couple of my friends got some Ubuntu free merchandise, and those days it is like something you get even a free CD or something shipped directly. Okay, things like that was there. Yeah, something ELX uses a modified version of Red Hat Anaconda to handle. Yeah, that's the installer they used to have. You see this. This is what I was talking about. Finally, I managed to pull this page from this Wayback Mission. As you can see there, there are some bunch of screenshots. Luckily, we get to see in this page. This is their business variant, BizDesk or something like that, and they were telling the product features and stuff. I just have to copy this or bookmark something I need to read sometime when I'm free. But you can see there I can able to open this screenshots, and you can see there I can show some bunch of them so that you can get an idea. See, this is their desktop. Yeah, this icon I used to remember my documents. So this is the desktop. Like I say, it is somewhat have that Windows vibe, but other than that, it is really useful when you compare any desktop Linux variants of that era. Okay, I never seen anything quite user friendly, and this is what it is able to start me getting into this. And you can even see there is a Windows variant of Yahoo Messenger, so I can use even this Yahoo Messenger. So slowly my transition started. I started feeling what you do in Windows minus the games okay, you can almost do the same stuff in Linux. Okay, so this is what got me onto this, onto the Linux ecosystem at that point of time. You can see there my home and stuff like that. So anybody who is into Windows 98, since there is no XP at that point of time, for them it is a good quite easy to transition, because there are all these extensions. They don't need to fumble or search which is what in Linux what they are supposed to do to edit or do something with the files or connect to internet and various other stuff. So you can see there, and this is their partition tool. Again, this you can see there their logo variant, that's the dolphin with this ELX. And even they had, I think, Windows fat you can partition. So anyway, that's their whole stuff, hence they have that mention. And what is this? I think this is the browser, and I think this is a Apple website, apple.com trailers, and you can see there. Yeah, it's just nice to see these things after a long time. Yeah, you can see there the desktop and the terminal. Yes, this is almost the stuff I was exposed to. The earlier what screenshots I showed is not something I am familiar with. That is too old for me. So this is what I was exposed, and it's quite easy. You can just insert a floppy and you can access through this icon. You don't need to always do one important aspect is, yes, those who are new to Linux, they don't feel comfortable typing this mount commands and all, and unlike now you can't get any auto mounts at that point of time. Again, this is an annoying thing about it. Okay, so that's one thing I liked is you just click some icon and it just does this in the background. So it's quite easy to do that. Okay, before that there is no such thing in Linux. You need to manually do that, and this is something I didn't like when I tried my college time Linux, because the floppy something is not working, and then my friend said it is not something you need to do some manual mount and stuff, which is something I didn't like, because in Windows it is working A drive, and then C drive is for hard disk. Why not it is working in Linux, I thought. So yeah, you can see there they have all this extensions, and this I think when you open it you will look like control panel. Okay, so that is the thing, and little bit there are changes are there. This is not the way it looks, the general public variant. This is their business variant, so there are different logos here and there, but more or less this is how it used to look. So I challenge you, take and compare with any 2004 Linux. You will feel that it sucks compared to something like this, and it is also been done in India. So yeah, it's nice memories. I'm going to store in my archive all these images and also some of this stuff as a part of my personal collection. Yeah, apart from that, of course, even if you want to play any videos and stuff, they had fantastic multimedia extensions. Again, like they mentioned here, multimedia stuff. You have this, you know, media players and stuff. Again, you don't need to fumble and search which is that application or something. It is you install Linux and it doesn't come, and then again you need to manually install. It is not. It is all put together, and it's a nicely packed variant. But unfortunately we are seeing a stuff where such an ecosystem is terribly challenging, and a small startup doing this is impossible almost, but they have done. And I'm not sure who contributed towards this apart from Abhi, but they have done this fantastic job of, you know, putting things together and making something like this even possible at that point of time. So I am what I am. It's because of ELX Linux. I need to you know, share this experience. I even used to have that their CD you know, at my home. Just recently, around you know, few years ago, I just disposed. Okay, I had an entire bunch of these CDs because I kept them as a reference, and some variants of Fedora, because it's the last Fedora with the 2.4 kernel. I just, you know, like Fedora 10 or something, I'm not sure which variant. Again, I kept it because if I need a reference, you know, Fedora with that specific kernel, I can use that Fedora Linux because it has a specific characteristics. The whole kernel is okay. So again, same way, the ELX Linux, I kept it because I really used to keep that. I mean, I used to have that as a trustworthy, you know, distro for a few years. Like I'm saying, till 2010. I used to preserve it because if there is any emergency, I know that I can take this and do certain things in this, which it is not so easy and comfortable with other distros. So this is what it is. So again, I am saying, you know, don't become someone that, you know, you just study something and then just go get a job, and then someone says that you become this, and then you learn because the company is making you to learn these things, and then you become into that, which you will realize by the time you reach around 30 or 35 years, it is too late. You realize that you have not worked in a career which you are passionate about. You are just, you know, put into all this bunch of garbage, and then you will realize that, oh, this is not my cup of tea, this is not something I always wished for, and by the time you realize, it is quite late. Okay, just choose a domain. Any youngster who is having a patience and watching till this extent, I'm saying, just choose a domain, leave what is cool in the industry. This I study, what I get, that I study, what I leave all this crap. Actually, just choose, you know, what you are, you know, passionate about. Find which you like working on this for your whole life. Okay, so choose that and then learn and get some mastery over it, and it is going to pay you off in a much broader aspect. It's just not about money. You should feel comfortable whenever you work on that. You should feel comfortable. Let's imagine you have great potential in coding or some systems, you know, stuff, or operating system and stuff. By some chance you did some AIML course and then started doing all this scripts, and then some Python stuff and some Java stuff and some garbage actually. So what happened is, you will not know now because you did something and then you got a job, but always you feel that you have a big disconnect. You thought something in college, you are something, okay, but what happened is, it has, you know, kind of, you know, due to the fate or whatever, you got into something which you thought something, and then it is not going to, you know, give you that satisfaction. So, you know, eventually you earn in any means. Even you can study that and you can get a job and stuff, or this, you know, AIML, get a job and stuff. So it's not that. It's all about how you feel comfortable going to the office or going to work every day, and, you know, dealing with this kind of stuff as a part of your routine job. Okay, so that's what it matters. Hence I am saying, see what, you know, changes you know, your perspective, and see, you know, if you come to know about something new, explore, and if you are very young, I am saying, explore and see that what is that in that is making you fascinated about. Okay, just see that. Okay, and then what you can do is you can explore and see, you can put your feet and see how much deeper you can go, and if you feel really comfortable, gain some mastery and experience, and then you can mention it in your resume, and then you can see whether you get a job in that exact thing. Okay, otherwise you will be like taken up. Today the company will train you on some garbage, and then tomorrow they say that okay, or if you are looking for a job, other companies you go, they say that we no longer want this expertise. Then what you will do actually? Okay, so I am saying just do that. So for me, this is the turning point, and after that I started learning kernel stuff, kernel customization and stuff, and then eventually I got into Komodo. So this is what happened. Otherwise, if that ELX Linux is not there, I may never think about Linux seriously. I will be thinking that it may be an operating system for servers or something, because that's what is my narrow-minded brain was at that point of time. I was never aware about the huge potential it can offer. So this was the turning point for me. So I thought I take an exclusive video, as I always do. I don't care about how much time it takes. I don't care who watches, who don't have the patience to watch. But I like to share this. Hope you love this video. If you love this video, be in touch with in mail. I don't care if you don't like or give this that feedback, and let's keep that YouTube social media aspect aside. Let's just use YouTube as a means to connect each other, and then as a knowledge sharing platform through these videos. I appreciate this aspect of YouTube rather getting much serious about the social media aspect, all these likes, dislikes, all these counters and stuff. Hence this is also the reason I just some videos I don't even enable these comments and stuff. I'm not interested at these aspects. So if you want to discuss about something, be in touch in mail. Okay, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for joining me. Stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye bye.